Are the actors ready or not? Are citizens onlookers or bastions of accountability? The questions pile up each day, 1,001. But hey, in the Situation Room, we are not carried away. We only ask the crucial questions and stick it in. Because the journey to El Dorado won't pardon missteps.
Based on the law, if you earn any income, you have to pay tax on it.
Join Okpeyemi Akionde in the Situation Room, Mondays to Thursdays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. for the real action.
In the Kano State, they tried it. What happened? Even in Edo State, they tried it. Not what happened. What I would say is, Mr. President is full of strategy.
You want to rubbish one of the governors? He does not believe that he must lose any battle. And you choose your fights now.
On your favorite dial, Mainland 98.3 FM, the Situation Room. Issues, personalities, and perspectives. We are always watching.
Nothing for Nigeria, fi shock me again, no. Politics for Nigeria, no fi surprise me.
Imagine a country where our children have good schools, where hospitals are well equipped, and where every community enjoys clean water and good roads. That future is possible, but only if we use our votes wisely.
Sadly, some people are ready to exchange their votes for money, food, or empty promises, and some politicians are ready to buy them. But ask yourself, after the money is spent, after the food is gone, what remains? 5, maybe 10 years of suffering under bad leadership.
Is your child's education worth just a small gift? Is your community's progress worth only a bag of rice or a few naira? No, it is worth much more.
When you keep your votes, when you cast it freely and wisely, you protect your dignity, your rights, and your future. Leaders who buy votes cannot serve the people faithfully, but leaders chosen by honest votes are accountable to you, the people.
Let us stand together. Let us reject vote buying and selling. Let us prove that our future cannot be bought. Your vote is your power, your right, and your responsibility. Use it wisely. This message is brought to you by Mainland 98.3 FM.
When they win your vote, just to win your vote, your vote. Politicians will tell you what you want to hear. Just to win your vote. Say that. We're about to make it real.
Show what you got your bed. Together. Ya can't no fool.
Traffic barawa Kumasibo bibo talelo Our strength is in our diversity. Let's live together now. Let's live together. Let's live together. We gotta live together, yeah. Let's live together.
Igbo. Jᴏɪɪ Oᴘᴇ Ibibio. Jᴏɪɪ Oᴘᴇ Fulani. Jᴏɪɪ Oᴘᴇ Ibiri. Jᴏɪɪ Oᴘᴇ Urobo. Wadada Edo. Wadada Kanu. Wadada.
Make we live together.
Oh, let's live.
Make we live together.
Please, let's live.
Make we live together.
And don't you forget
Make we
it.
live together.
Leave this one.
Make we live together. Join hands, make life better. Come, make we live together. You know, say you'll be my brother. Together, together, join hands, make life better. Make we live together. Say you know, say
Sister, brother,
make we live. Make we live, make
from the north to the south and to the east and to the west.
What leadership? I have shown leadership. I have said, look, you cannot do this. If you do this, you pay for it.
Does it get better or worse? Are the actors ready or not? Are citizens onlookers or bastions of accountability? The questions pile up each day, 1,001. But hey, in the Situation Room, we are not carried away. We only ask the crucial questions and stick it in. Because the journey to El Dorado won't pardon missteps.
Based on the law, if you earn any income, you have to pay tax on it.
Join Ḥᴏᴜᴜ in the Situation Room Mondays to Thursdays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. for the real action.
In the Kano State, they cried it. What happened? Even in Edo State, they cried it. Not what happened. What I would say is, Mr. President is a full of strategy.
You want to rubbish one of the governors? He does not believe that he must lose any battle. And you choose your fights now.
On your favorite dial, Mainland 98.3 FM, the Situation Room. Issues, personalities, and perspectives. We are always watching.
Nothing for Nigeria, fi shock me again, no. Politics for Nigeria, no fi surprise me again.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Situation Room live from Mila 98.3 FM. I decided to start the show with I think one of my favorite Nigerian songs of all time, and that's the title of that song is Let's Live Together. And I think the song came up about 15-17 years ago from a group called Kush. The group had I think there was T.Y. Bello, there was Lara George, there was MM, and then there was Dapo. Yes, and the song literally just sent the right signal. Absolutely, a reflection of where we are right now as a nation in terms of how we love ourselves, how we see ourselves, how we respect ourselves, how we tolerate ourselves, our religious differences, our tribal uniqueness. And the message of the song is very, very simple. Let's live together as one. And until we see this country in that light, we're not making any progress whatsoever. Until we understand that people have the right to their political decisions, until we understand that people have the right to express their religious affiliation, until we understand the fact that everyone has a right to protect as enshrined in the Constitution. And you also need to know that no Nigerian is more Nigerian than the other. From the only reason why President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is probably at the moment more Nigerian than me is because of the seat he's occupying. The moment he leaves the seat remains supreme. And so until we start seeing ourselves in that light, then we're probably not making the level of progress that we know that we deserve. So it's a song that I love to listen to every single time. And over the weekend, I was just going through one of my very old music library, and I saw it and I'm like, wow, this song is absolutely relevant. And I said I was going to start the show with it today. Welcome. My name is Ōkpeyēmi Aken. We have a big guest on the show today that joins us virtually. But then the president has sworn in Mr. Taiwo Oyedele as the Minister of State for Finance. So I'm sure a lot of us are quite familiar with Taiwo Oyedele, especially as the issue of the tax. I'm sure a lot of us stand, who is the president? But for a lot of people, you understand that, is a big deal in terms of, taxation, tax issues, consultancy on the continent of Africa, around the world. I think it's one of the best hands that we can have. So he's been sworn in a very private ceremony at the State House by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the Minister of State for Finance. Let's take a listen to Taiwo Oyedele. The president also had an interfaith with the leadership of media houses in Nigeria over the weekend. I will play you that soundbite also. He had, some very interesting position to take in respect to how the media is operating in Nigeria, both the print and electronic media. So he's been having this series of interfaith break of fast with them. A lot of groups, from the senators to the reps members, to the religious and traditional rulers, to the leadership of the APC and IPAC as well. He's been having those series of meetings, and obviously is trying to still drive the message of what his administration stands for, or what he means for Nigerians at the moment. So I'll play you those sound bites back to back from Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, the new Minister of State for Finance, and of course President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And when we come back, my guest joins us on the show today. I'll be speaking with for the people around housing development issue in Nigeria. Then Professor Timothy Nubi is not new to a lot of us here. He's the founding director for Center for Housing and Sustainable Development from University of Lagos. We're going to be looking at the Nigeria's housing crisis, regulations and affordability. Where is the meeting point? And that's what we're going to be discussing on the show today. But let's take a quick break. I'll play you this soundbite. When I come back, Professor Nubi joins us on the show. Stick around.
What leadership? I have shown leadership. I have said, look, you cannot do this. If you do this, you pay for it.
Does it get better or worse? Are the actors ready or not? Are citizens onlookers or bastions of accountability? The questions pile up each day, 1,001. But hey, in the Situation Room, we are not carried away. We only ask the crucial questions and stick it in. Because the journey to El Dorado won't pardon missteps.
Based on the law, if you earn any income, you have to pay tax on it.
Join Ōkpeyēmi Aken in the Situation Room, Mondays to Thursdays from 4 to 5:30 p.m. for the real action.
In the Kano State, they cried what happened. Even in Edo State, they cried it not what happened. What I would say is Mr. President is a full of strategy.
You want to rubbish one of the governors? He does not believe that he must lose any battle. And you choose your fights now.
On your favorite dial, Mainland 98.3 FM, the Situation Room. Issues, personalities, and perspectives. We are always watching.
Nothing for Nigeria, if shock me again, no. Politics for Nigeria, no fit surprise me again.
Thank you very much. I guess we'll have to put the audio schedule, much later on the show, because my guest is on the line already. And like I said, one of the things that seems to be of great concerns to Nigerians right now is the housing crisis that we are facing at the moment. And this involves affordability, and these days nobody's even looking for luxury anymore. People just want to have a roof on their head. People just want to have a place where they can call, oh, this is my comfort zone. So you imagine a state as cosmopolitan as Lagos, where people are paying to stay under the bridges. The issues of demolitions, issues of relocation, issues of maybe compensation. There's just been a whole lot of debates around the housing situation in Nigeria as we speak. As at the last check, it's been reported that Nigeria is battling about 31 million deficit housing units in Nigeria. That means even a lot of people that could say, okay, I have a roof over my head, but what is the quality of that life, that living condition that you find yourselves? And we're going to be looking at those issues today. And again, you look at how a city is evolving, how a city is regenerating itself. Oh, it's the Lagos of 30 years ago, the Lagos of 50 years ago. Oh, a particular location is no longer fitting a this and that. And when issues like this happen, the conversation around how do you treat people that, okay, this has been where we've been over the years, but you're moving us out of this place. Where are you taking us to? How affordable is housing in Nigeria? Over the weekend, I was going through a couple of reports, and I saw a certain lady that was complaining that, oh, she wanted to get an apartment in Alimosho, and then they told her to pay 1 million for a room. Not a room and parlor, the one they call face me, I face you, and then the agent fee and the total package is about 800,000. And I'm wondering that how did we get to this point? There's also been issues of people saying, oh, the landlord wakes up one day and then increases the rent from 1 million to 3 million, and then everyone seems to be at a crossroad. But again, where is the government in all of this? So we have so much discussed. Professor Tᴏɪᴜnᴜ joins me on the show today. He's the founding director at the Center for Housing and Sustainable Development at University of Lagos. We're going to be looking at the Nigeria's housing crisis. We look at the regulations and affordability. Where is the meeting point? Prof, good to have you join us on the show. You're making a debut in the Situation Room. It's my pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Well,
good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Prof. I know that your schedule is very busy, so I really appreciate you finding time to join us on the show this evening, Prof.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
Okay, so let's get straight up into the conversation. A lot of people have downplayed the usage of crisis. They said, oh, Nigeria is just the population is exploding, and then the government is struggling to meet up with the housing demands. Oh, we're not in a crisis situation yet. Oh, some people are just exaggerating it. Prof, from your own point of view, what is the state of housing in Nigeria? Are we in a crisis already, or we're still managing the situation?
Yes, thank you so much. To say we are in a state of crisis, to me, is an understatement.
So we're in a worse situation?
We are in a worse situation. You know, you mentioned two indicators. In a nation where people were paying 180,000 to stay in a container house under the bridge, what evidence do you need again? You just have to drive through it's not a problem limited to Lagos. People sleeping under the bridge was a big news last week in Abuja. It was a big news. People were collecting money from people who are sleeping under the bridges in Abuja on daily basis. They provided mattresses and mosquito nets. In Abuja, the federal capital of the country. So, when you see people paying 180,000 per annum for a room under the bridge, then what again do we need? When we see people sleeping by the roadside, when you see millions of people living in informal settlements, slums, shanties, then we have crisis in our hand. It's on record that 50%, between 50% to 60% of those who are living in cities across Africa, especially Nigeria, they are living in slums. Life in slum could be miserable. So, what again do we need? You've already told us experience of someone who was asked to pay for one room, not room self-contained, 1 million. So there's crisis because all over the world, affordability is defined as not paying beyond 30% of your monthly income on income. So this affordability index, anyone that is paying more than 30% of his income on housing is living in unaffordable housing. So it was calculated that by the time you spend 30,000, more than 30% on housing, other form of living, food, schooling, whatever, health, you will change it. Something must suffer. And we've reported as far back as 10, 15 years ago that that most of the people living in the urban area, they spend more than 60%. In Abuja, 70%, 80%. And currently in Lagos, more than 70%, 80% on rent. It's so obvious that the magnitude of the problem is enormous. And people like us that are crying out, we are crying out because we see this thing almost consuming us. It's almost consuming us because the population of this country today is 220 million. 220 million. And it's been projected that by 2050, which is 25 years' time, our population will double to 450 million. So if we are 220, if we are 20 million in Lagos, and we have projection that will become 40 million in Lagos, and we have the situation like this, and 25 years' time, it's 2050, 25 years' time, it's just like tomorrow. So, if we are in this situation with 220 million, we can now imagine the magnitude of the problem. We just walk around Lagos and take rental value from the so-called K2 to Oroshoki to Surulere. There is nowhere people talk about thousands again. Whatever level of housing, from room and parlor to single room, is in thousands. So this actually cannot be affordable to people that are earning in a nation where minimum wage is 70,000, and some states have not even started paying it. They've not started paying it. So is affordability or no affordability is not something you use torchlight to find. It's there everywhere. It's there. Well, when you get to these houses that they are putting 3.5 million, 4 million on, you still have to do extensive restructuring. They just let it to you as it is. It's your responsibility to clean it up, to do to do so many things. So it's a problem. It's a problem, and it's a crisis situation.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. I like the fact that we've established it because I've read a lot of commentaries around the housing situation in Nigeria, and then somebody says, oh, you can't compare the standard of living in Ekiti or in Jigawa compared to Ibadan or Port Harcourt or Lagos, that urbanization is what is increasing and all of that. I understand, when a city is evolving, definitely people would want to migrate into the city for better opportunities. And in most cases, it results into a population explosion, and basic amenities would have to suffer for it. My colleague, Prof, made an analogy last week on the show, and he says what is really happening is that people are moving from where they used to be to where they can afford to be now. So for someone that is paying 10 million naira rent in Lekki and he can't pay anymore, then he comes to Ikeja, for instance, and then in Ikeja I can afford to pay 7 million as rent in Ikeja. It's against the 10 million he's paying in Lekki. So the person in Ikeja can also not meet up. The person will drop to maybe Abule Egba. The person in Abule Egba that cannot pay 5 million will drop to maybe Songota. And that was the analogy that Side Forward dropped. But if you say we are facing housing crisis, how did we get here, Prof? Is this a failure of the government to properly plan, or it's the consequences of urbanization?
Yeah, everything that you have said, the consequence of everything that we have said. There are so many. It's a nation that we started very well, that we eventually derailed. And what we are seeing in Nigeria, I want to just let you know that it's not peculiar to Nigeria. And now what I'm saying is that it's there on record for in our cities, in cities all over the world, for every homeless man on the street, there were locked up luxury apartments, 12. 12 locked up luxury apartments for every homeless person on the street. There are luxury apartments that are locked up somewhere. It's 16 apartments in Dublin. And that led to the tension in Dublin about a year ago. As we are talking about deficit, you still be shocked that there are so many locked up apartments in Lekki, in the so-called Lekki corridor, in particular VI, some parts of Ikeja, thousands in Abuja. So this actually is like a paradox. You see, and that's why the former minister, Governor Fashola, said that there is no deficit. Now, how can you say there is deficit when there are thousands of housing units across Abuja in Lagos that were not occupied? So these are very sensitive issues that required research and thorough analysis. Unfortunately, we are not doing that. Unfortunately, we are not doing that. We are not doing that. So, I don't know. Like I said, we started well. We are victim of ourselves, and we are victim of global economic restructuring. Like I said today, we are victim of World Bank structural adjustment program that we call it neoliberalism. You see, those services that were being provided by government before, World Bank said government have no business in business. Privatize. Privatize. No subsidy. Let the market determine who we buy. We are suffering from it now. And we open up. And government say, okay, government, we used to have Gowon Estate, Shagari Estate, Jakode Estate. The policy shift moved towards no direct involvement of government. And President Obasanjo was in it in 2002 when President Obasanjo monetization of housing, when all housing projects in Ikoyi, wherever it's government housing, where they were sold. We are only fortunate to have accommodations on campuses and barracks not sold. Government houses were sold. 1004 used to be civil service quarters. What my colleagues were saying there. The big people from level 12, they stayed in the Rikmon Tower, Ikoyi Tower. When you move to level 15, 16, 17, you stay in a detached house in Ikoyi and Victoria Island. All those areas were social housing. They were social housing. 1004 social housing. The entire Ikoyi social housing. Ikoyi social housing. Rikmon Tower social housing. Civil servants were staying there. How much were they earning that they were staying in those places? That takes being an elite and bureaucrat and being a super rich to say in 1004 that started as government quarters for civil servants. So Obasanjo yielded to pressure and sold all government houses. And they started in the university today, we have scarcity. We are talking about a staff strength of 5,000 to 6,000. And we have just less than 300,000 units, staff quarters, for a growing population. Student housing is a different ball game. University of Lagos today, we have almost 45,000 students, or 50,000 students, 60,000 students. Last year, we graduated 16,000 graduates. And then we have just 9,000 or 10,000 bed spaces. So, there's a quick chatting. All because there's a government policy that says no more building of government quarters. People collect your salary from, get your housing allowance with your salary. How much is your housing allowance? Housing allowance that you cannot get a room with it when we are now saying that a room in a face me and face you is going for 1 million. So what do? So these are policy somersaults. We are suffering from policy somersault because of internal inconsistency and external pressure to make us to open up our market, shy away from subsidy, let people that can benefit from health. I kept on telling people when I had my first child, for 1 year or two, we are collecting free drug from the General Hospital Bagada. But they say privatize everything, privatize private hospital. Nobody gets free drug from hospital again. So, we are facing the result of privatization and what I call neoliberalism. We are facing it. And these people that sold this thing to us, they are still practicing social welfare. If you are a key worker, if you are a poor person in England today, this country still provide accommodation for those who could not afford in the free market. So these are things. And then, like I said, there is also one policy I want to mention. There was a time in this country They call it employers housing scheme. They call it employers housing scheme. If you have 50 people in your payroll, you must provide housing for them. That was what led to the establishment of satellite town. Satellite town is a town today built by 19 companies. CBN, Unilag, Nitel, then Nipos, 19 companies were given parcel of land to build houses for their staff. That was a decree of 1977. Where have we replicated satellite town since that time? Has the decree or law be abrogated? No. The law is still there. The law requires that once you have 50 people in your payroll, you must provide housing for them. And that's what led to that satellite town. So there are some things we are doing and we stopped. But like I said, Goma might not be big estates, but we still have remnants of the one estate there at Yanopaja. We still have Shagari estate at Isheri everywhere. We still have Jakonde houses, 16 estates within 4 years. After Jakonde estate, how many estates have we developed in the last 20 or 30 years? So once there is supply, once there is no longer supply, and the demand kept increasing, the rent will increase. So the rent, the affordability crisis we're talking about, built up over a period of time. No new product is coming to the market. The policy, the national housing policy of 1991, said that the private sector should drive the housing sector. And the private sector, every private sector is profit oriented. There's one way private sector can deliver social housing. All over the world. All over the world. You can't ask the private sector to go and provide affordable housing. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work.
Prof, sorry to hold your thought, Prof. It's very important at this point to put in the lines between availability and affordability. One of the private organization providing housing released a report in 2023 where they said that twice in 2023 they had to reduce the cost of their 60% completed buildings that they were selling because people were not buying. Oh, they said they had hundreds of units in Agbara, people cannot afford it. Oh, they have so many units in Abia, people could not afford it as well. How much more, Prof, can the government do in making sure that, you've established the fact that private company cannot provide social housing because the economy is tough. I'm not going to buy a bag of cement for 10,000 naira, buy a ton of rod for almost 300,000, and then you tell me that, you must sell at a particular price or your rent must not go beyond this level. How can government collaborate with the private sector to deliver affordable housing to the people? The government says they can't do it alone. The private sector also says that is not sustainable to peg housing at a certain price because of how the economy is also not stable. How can there be a meeting point, Prof, between the government in terms of policies and the organized private sector to provide affordable housing for the people?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's not a rocket science. The world today is a global village, and we can always benchmark best practices across the world. So, in England today, how do they do it in UK? How do they do it in UK? How do you see government work together with private sector? Today in UK, you see projects, private sector projects coming up everywhere. The first thing I want to say is that in UK today, the land in UK, in England, is under the control of what an organization, an institution that we call English Partnership. It was English partnership that is administering government land. But about 10 or 15 years ago, and the housing corporation is in charge of funding, financing. About 10 years ago, English partnership merged with housing corporation. They brought both the land and finance together under the same umbrella. And these are people that will say, okay, they work with private developers. They work with private developers. If you are a private developer, you approach government because government must give you land. Government controls the land. And you approach them that you want to deliver 2,000 housing units. Government will allocate land to you. And housing corporation will give you certain amount of money. It's calculated to kickstart the project. You have land, you have certain economic, financial seed sown into the project. By the time you deliver your 2,000 housing units, 20% of it is given to the local government that have given you that land and so on. So you have 400 units. In the 400 units that are sold or rented to the poor. Rented to the poor. So in England today, you don't see council houses again, as you used to see, where you can point to a given area and say these are council houses there. They learned from the fact that it's toxic to put poor people together. And that was what led to the Brixton riot of the 80s. When you put people together, the poor people together, you have it's crisis every time. So they now develop this inclusive model. They call it mixed community. So in this approach that I said, private developer will sell to bankers, the oil master, the IT guys, this particular unit at 1.8 million. That same unit will be sold to the poor, those who could not afford it. They call it the key worker, the firefighter, the bus driver, the nurses, the teacher that are not animals. In the same unit, you see the banker could buy from the private sector 1.8 million. You see in the same unit somebody buying for 200,000 from the council. Same quality. All of them growing up together, using the same lift. Mixed community. So the poor are living with the, and nobody knows that you are the one that got your own from local government.
Or from bankers. Nobody cares about the price.
Nobody knows. It's a mixed community. That's the way government has worked with the private sector to deliver affordable housing. And it's no rocket science. We can still do it. We can do it. The private developers today were building in far places that you mentioned, and nobody is renting houses because they are far away from work, especially with this cost of transportation, with the removal of oil subsidy. If you build a house in Badagry because you want to reduce cost, that amount you think you save from landlord,
you spend it on transport.
Spend on transport. So the inner city could still be, you can still live in inner city. All these Makoko, all these Owuroshoki that we are demolishing, those are the models we are recommending. The private sector can work with the public sector to develop this place into beautiful projects. 2,000 units. The people that you are displaying, the people that are living there, they are living on small bungalow. By the time you go to 4 floors, you'll be able to build more. They'll just be fraction of the people. These people can still live there. The poor can still live there as mixed community. They can still live there. And the developer, looking at the value of land, can see if you have to go and buy this land, the amount, the value of the land is enough to do resettlement institute for these people. So this all over the world, these are the models that have been tested. So it's not that you now spend billions to build, you are looking for buyer or renter. No. Everything is designed from the drawing board. That's why all over the world you see what they call off-plan. You don't see buildings that were built and waiting for buyers. No. They are buyers of plan. Because the work, right from the drawing board, those who will live in this project, they've already shown interest. Right from drawing board. They've shown interest before you go to site and break the ground. So there are a lot of models and best practices that are out there that we can embrace and turn these things around.
Thank you very much, Prof. You mentioned Makoko and Oworoshoki. These are situations that have been heavily invested in, especially Oworoshoki. Throughout October, November, December last year, that's 2025, I had reasons at different times to go to Oworoshoki, to pull up reports, to run interviews, to have, on the spot assessment. The issue of relocation, Prof, the issue of 30 years ago you moved from this place to this place, then once we are driving through the Third Mainland Bridge at the site of Oworoshoki is not beautiful enough, this one and this one. Did the government handle the situation at Oworoshoki? Was it properly handled?
Yes, like I said, there are so many things that were not well handled in the country. Not only Oworoshoki is just one of them. So, like I said, the city definitely is dynamic. The city kept on growing. And I am a professor of housing and urban regeneration. I never subscribe to keeping those places as slum forever. My slogan for many years has been city without slum. We don't go to Dubai and see slum adorning their highways like flower pots. Not done anywhere. I don't know government, no successful government will love to see its city remain as slum. Like you are driving through Terminal Bridge, all you are seeing is exhibition of poverty and slum. Nobody wants to see. That's not a statement of success. When Governor Fashola became governor, he planted thousands of trees, if not millions of trees, that changed the landscape of Lagos. When you get to Unipan today, they used to sell fowl, sheep, everything there. But look at beautiful garden that emerged. That you see people recreating. That's a city. That's the role of city managers. No city manager, no governor should adorn the corridors of his major highway with slum. And I kept on saying that, look, we can't leave this place as slum. But demolition is not the solution. Like I've said, this land, they are prime land. The value of the land is sufficient to rebuild in about 25% of that land area for the people and adorn the place with skyscrapers, quality housing environment. The value of the land where people are staying now is enough for them to earn a unit without government breaking their pulses. So, it's financial engineering, it's urban regeneration. It's not done overnight. But we said that other nations have done it that we can learn from. They've done it in Egypt. They've done it in South Africa. And we are saying we private sector and the homeowners there, we can work together. All these bungalows, shanties that were built, that occupied acres of land on a prime land. Yes, we put value on their land. You build your house on 3 meters by 10 meters. That's 30 square meters. 30 square meter has value in that land, in that place. And by the time you look at the value of 30 square meter, you'll be shocked. There is the value of a self-contained apartment well constructed in a good project. Most of the people that are living in that place, you'll be shocked that many of them are graduates. Many of them are blue-collar workers. There are people that if they have access, they will live in a better environment. If you build better environment for them, they will stay there and they will not mess it up. Take on they build houses and people bought it at 3,000, 4,000 per flat, and they moved there and they were living their life, quality environment. So these are what we are saying. Makoko Oworosoki can never remain there as long. I will not subscribe to that. But there is a model we can adopt that is win-win for everybody. Win-win for government, win-win for private sector, win-win for the people that are living there. Because those people, they have value. Their land has value. And that value is high enough to earn them at least an apartment in a well-engineered, well-designed environment.
Prof, I want to quote someone. We'll wrap up the conversation. I know a lot of people want to call us on the show, but let me make a quote. And this is coming from Imelda Olaoye, the founder of Think Mint Nigeria. And she said something. She said, the real issue is not just the shortage of houses, but a system that produces homes far beyond the reach of an average Nigerian. That is affordability. Then she went on to say that we design houses aspirationally, not economically. The supply we produce doesn't match the purchasing power of an average Nigerian. That is why we are driving towards the housing crisis. I just quoted Imelda Olaoye. Prof, do you subscribe to this school of thought? Hello, can you hear me, Prof?
Yes.
Okay. I said, do you subscribe to this school of thought that when we plan houses, we build aspirationally, not economically?
No. There's what are the houses that we are building? Are they fantastic? Are they more beautiful than the houses people are building in UK or in Germany? All the houses we are talking about, what is aspirational about them? Were they painted with gold, or did they use blood to do the concrete? No, it's not. There are so many things that there are so many players, and like I said in one interview, there are so many professors on the platform these days, and there are so many commentators on housing. People don't see housing as a specialization. So there's nothing fantastic. It's not aspirational. You know the simple problem we have in this country concerning affordability. Those places that we said they build houses in Lekki, people are not occupying. Are they not occupying them? Is it because the design is fantastic? They put lifts, they put swimming pool? No, they are simple houses as well. That normal people are staying all over the world. But the missing link, what makes affordability? Unfortunately, we don't have time. It's a master class. You see, what constitutes affordability today? I'll simply explain to you. Affordability, there are three factors that determines affordability. One, income. Two, cost of construction. Three, repayment term. Those are things that determines affordability. Cost of construction. In this country, Cost of construction is very high. Cost of construction is very high in this country. Cost of construction is high. So if today to build, my salary is 5 million per annum, and they are saying a house is 50 million, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. Or they are saying a house is 100 million, I can't afford it. But if my salary still remains 55 million per annum, and the price and the cost of construction drop to 10 million, I can afford it. So if cost of construction should drop, though there is no increase in my salary, affordability comes in. So affordability has to do with cost and income. But the third stage, which is the most critical, I always explain to people using the analogy of this telephone when it came, this multi-link. When multi-link came, they were selling it at 180,000. I was among those who were in desperate need of, because we moved to our house then towards Alagbadu, and we were in dear need of telephone. So when multi-link came, the first set of wireless, we rejoiced. But when we had the price, we ran back. How are we to get 180,000? But after multi-link discovered that they were not selling, they now advertised a promo. They said, pay 50,000 and pay 10,000 for 18 months. About that 50,000 and 10,000 for 18 months, how much is that? That's 230,000. Higher than the original cost of cash and carry of
150.
180. It became, the cost became higher. But I'm telling you today that I joined a queue that started at Stakajojo with strength to Idowu.
Because you want to get because you want to get the multi-links.
It became affordable, despite the fact that the cost increased, the price increased.
But because there was a repayment plan.
There is a payment plan of repayment over a long period of time. It became affordable. People joined the long queue inside the sun and rain to buy. That long queue, that repayment term of 18 months for multi-link, that is the 18 years for housing. They call it mortgage. These houses we are saying is expensive at Lekki, is expensive at Badagry, because they require us to buy and pay cash and carry. That's why it's not affordable. If today we turn around our mortgage sector, that I can pick a mortgage, I can get a mortgage to pay for 15 million housing for a period of 25 years. Immediately I start working, 10 years into my service, I become senior lecturer. After being employed lecturer 2, working for 10 years, I became senior lecturer. I still have 25 to 35 years to spend. At the point of getting to senior lectureship, if I have a mortgage of then houses were not more than 10 million. If I collected a mortgage of 10 million that time, 25 years ago, and I require 25 years to pay 10 million, how much will I be paying every month? Nothing. As at this time, my repayment would be like dash. As if they give it to me, pro bono. So, but in a nation where you have to buy everything cash and carry, it doesn't work. It doesn't allow for affordability. So it's not that the cost is fantastic. But when you look at the cost of these houses, when you look at you are told that a house is 150 million. 150 million is $75,000 dollars or pounds. Can you get a house of 75,000 pounds in London? You can't get it. You can't get it. So it's not that the cost, the minimum amount you can pay for a 2-bedroom apartment in London today, Croydon or its environment, Ashford area, Kent, Milton Keynes, you can't get a 2-bedroom apartment less than £240,000. What is that in naira? That's 180 million naira. But people are still buying them because there's mortgage. And once you are a first-time buyer, you can get a mortgage at 5% and you pay for it for 25, 30 years. It becomes affordable. It becomes affordable. My son, okay, this is private to me. You know, my son was living in an apartment in Dublin and he was paying 1,400 euro. He was paying 1,400 euro as rent. When he got his house, and I said, "Oh, are you now paying more because this one is your house?" He said, "Daddy, I'm paying less." He was paying mortgage of $800, 800 euros, against rent of 1,400. You are paying 800 for what will become your own because the term of repayment is long. So, in this nation, to crack the nut of affordability, we need a sound and robust mortgage system. We need to crash cost of construction because that's what I say. I always advise we should focus on, because we find out that over the years, when government wakes up where they say minimum wage increase from 30,000 to 70,000, see many states could not even afford to pay. So I said, okay, don't focus on increase in income. Focus on crashing the cost and focus on building the mortgage sector. Since we find it so difficult to increase income, let us decrease other costs and work on other variables. And then we get the affordable something we are talking about.
Prof, thank you very much. But before we leave, I know that someone is listening and the person is wondering, oh, what can the government do? And this is, a bit away from the academic side of this conversation. It's more of a concern that keeps growing every day. And that is affordability. And we're not even talking about houses of millions now. We're talking about a one-room apartment, a self-contained, where they will tell you that, oh, rent is 800,000, but commission agreement, agent fee, damages, this and that is 2 million. And a lot of people have argued that it will be difficult for the government to regulate the market, because the people building and developers are responding to the current economic realities. Is there anything the government can do in area of regulating house rents in Nigeria?
Yeah, there are. If government should regulate the pharmaceutical industry, regulate the university, send a AUC member to us and every 2 years or for 4 years for accreditation. Yes, government can regulate, but the government cannot regulate rent. Price control has never worked all over the world, because what determines rent is demand and supply. So that's what determines. But this essence of agency 20% deposit, this is broad day robbery. That's broad. Government can really work on that. It's on long run. All these things we are saying is like we said, satellite town. Festac town was built. In that festival town today, we call Festac town, there are 5,000 units there, built early 70s. For the 77 Festac. The same model that we used that time is what Dubai is using to build the Dubai South today. They did a 6-month expo, Dubai Expo, around 2022. And they attracted business world, just like we brought the art and culture in 1977. They brought the business world, the CTEC. And the village that people stayed that time, hello, can you see me? The village that people stayed that time, that is the Dubai South today, that is growing like first time. Building construction is going on every time. So what I'm saying is that we are a nation that have made fantastic effort. Beautiful policy. All we just need is to sit down and put heads together and see what were we doing correctly before that we stopped. How can we embrace it? Let's look at successful models in the past, like Jakonde housing, 16 estates, about 40,000 units within 4 years. What did it do? How can we replicate the model that he adopted so that we can bring back LADPC? LADPC today is privatized. They've also joined private developers. How can we revive all these institutions that were meant to develop affordable housing? I lived in the housing corporation estate at Abeokuta with my brother, who was a level 14 officer in the ministry. I lived with him. Since that housing corporation estate that was built by the housing corporations in the 70s and 80s, the housing corporations are still there. People are still being promoted to become general manager. They have several directors. Their employees, the architects who are collecting salary in the last 50 years, there's no single estate to point out that this is our product. And they go to work every day. They say their children, they welcome them back home. Their family welcome back home after a day work. They've gone to work to do what? Where are the housing corporation estates that we have at Ibadan, we have at Djibouti, we have at Abeokuta, we have in Ondo, we have in Kano? Where are the estates? When housing corporation died under our watch, doing nothing, people collecting salary, and we are saying private developer should come and provide social housing for civil servants. It can't work. So we have to look at all these institutions that were once there and they are doing well. We have to look at why are they no longer doing well. Where is the first act after? Where is another first act? If we have 5,000 first act at federal level, produced at federal level, and we have first act in the 5 territorial districts of Lagos, are we going to be? And we have such first act 10 years. Since 1977, if every 10 years we are building 3 first act size, we will not be where we are. We will not be where we are. These are to do with policies. These are to do giving tax holiday to building materials, manufacturers. What happens? Where should the WC, all the ceramic? We used to produce ceramic at Abeokuta. What happens to them? We used to produce Oluwa glass in Ondo. What happened? We used to have the J4 sawmill wood industry corridor at J4 towards Ore. What happened? What of these are things can we look at? When the ceramic died, the plywood industry at J4 died, Oluwa glass died, and we started importing. That's pressure on our foreign exchange. People said that by the time Naira was $1 to $2, As at that time, Nigerians who are producing what we eat and what we wear and what we use. But now, 60%, according to WINAPO, as far back as 2002, 60% of the building materials in Nigeria today were imported, if not more. The studio where you are seated now, look at things around you, the furniture, the wall, everything, the glass, the door, they were all imported. How can you bring those in at the present exchange rate and be expecting affordable housing? It can't work. So all these industries that have died, we have to bring them back. And government have to give tax holiday, do all sorts of incentives to encourage them. Because in growing the housing sector, that is the growth of our economy. It's been proved last year. The real estate sector contributed more than the oil sector for the first time to the GDP. For the first time. So if real estate sector is now leading in GDP contribution, then we must put attention and see how can we remove the bottlenecks and barrier in that sector so that they can perform better, so that they can give more to the GDP. And there lies the problem of unemployment. There lies the solution to unemployment, to poverty. Because from where I come from, right from when I was young, they kept on telling us that Iṣẹ́ is work that is antidote to poverty. It's when you work that you can have money in your pocket. And what can create employment in this country? No sector than the housing sector, the construction sector. No other sector can produce the millions of employment if you can just face it. There will be money in the pocket of people to demand. And there will be so much work, there will be so much money in circulation. We want to grow this nation. I kept on saying at every interview that if we put attention, if any government should place premium on the housing sector, it's not doing Nigerian favor. It's helping itself. It's helping this economy. There's no nation all over the world that grows faster than its construction sector. Once the construction sector is dead, the economy is dead. No wonder during the recession of 2007-2008, the Prime Minister of the UK said, we will build UK out of recession. And they started 270 units in the King's Corridor in Move. By the time you want to take any nation out of poverty, focus on the construction industry, on the real estate, on the housing sector. Put money there. Because these are we mobilize the local employment. We are implementing the local employment. To generate employment, it will generate security. Because once you are able to be gainfully employed, the tendency to be recruited into Boko Haram or whatever this gang.
It reduces.
So I kept on saying that housing is the is the solution to every sector the government is looking at. That is, we see now as our problem. Is it security? Is it unemployment? Is it restlessness of the youth? Please just go into housing, invest into housing, and you see over time how this problem will disappear. We have seen it, practice. We have seen it all over the world. We've seen it in our country. We've seen it in Bayelsa. We have seen it everywhere. That you see construction going on a large scale. Insecurity will disappear. Because those guys were busy in the morning on the construction side. In the evening, they are sleeping. We have seen it. We have practicalized it. We have seen it all over the world. Go into construction. Insecurity will do. Because all these vagabonds, all these area boys, the street urchin. At the end of the day, what they make in a day with all their rascality is not up to 5,000, which they can make in construction site.
Prof, thank you very much. Before we leave, let me personalize something real quick. On the 7th of April 2024, I was at the entrance of the University of Lagos, gates, and then we went there to welcome someone that had pulled off one of the most remarkable feats you can imagine after driving all the way from London to Lagos for about 68 days or thereabouts. And that person happened to be your beautiful daughter, Sɪᴛᴜᴜ, remember? And she's a travel content creator and a globe trotter, according to how they describe her. I was fortunate to meet her sometime last year as well at the Randu, house on the island, and it was a very pleasant conversation that we had.
Yeah.
Let me just take your thought a little bit before we leave. As a father, seeing your child pull off such a remarkable feat, how did it make you feel? And within the period she was traveling, I'm sure there were times where you couldn't reach her. I'm sure, in fact, at some point during the trip, she had an accident and all of that. Take us through that process, and how do you feel when she got all of those special recognition? She was received by the Lagos state government and all of those moments. How did that make you feel, Prof?
Yeah, we thank God. We thank God. We thank God. Thank you so much for this. We thank God. We thank God. We're grateful to God. It's our life. Our life has been a life that is filled with gratitude. We live every day of our life thanking God, even before that feast. Well, we find out that in life, God is faithful. We are a family of faith. We believe in God. We are Christian. I'm a minister. I was ordained as far back as 1994 in Upper Room Baptist Church. So we brought them up in the way of faith. And we thank God because whatever you make happen to other people, God will make it happen to you. Whatever you sow in life, you will reap. So we've lived a life dedicated to bringing up children. I started lecturing at Yaba College of Tech as far back as 1987. By next year, it will be my 40 years of lecturing. And we had fantastic testimony of our students doing well. And each time we hear that, we rejoice with them. And they kept on sharing testimony of how we inspired them. So when you are committed into building people's life, helping other children to find their way in life, you do this work that we are doing in the university as a committed steward, but not as an hireling. You live as a true shepherd. There's a way God will just be kind to you in return. So it's not because they are fantastic. There's just God showing kindness to us, repaying us the kindness God
that you've shown to other people.
So we thank God. We thank God. We thank God. Her name is Oluwapelumi. And she kept on saying that really worked for her. That really worked for her because there are many places that they believe that no young lady can do this one alone. That somebody must be hiding. They will search the car, look at underneath. They kept on saying that, yeah. They say, you're alone? He said, no, I'm not alone. God is with me. So that gave us for it the foundation of faith in Christ. The foundation of faith in Christ the foundation that is not by power, it's not by might, but it's always by the Spirit of the Lord. So those are all things, and the grace and mercy of God that really helped. It was a trial period for us, like I gave the interview after the journey, because we were the only one. We were the security apparatus. So the rule was that you don't drive at night. Drive, by time it's 8 o'clock, you will sleep. You find a place to sleep. Inside the jungle or wherever. The agreement is that don't drive beyond 8 o'clock. So she will pack and sleep and send us the Google map of that location. So when she's to take off in the morning, she will also tell us. So it was a 74 days journey that we went through together. But the accident, because she was delayed in a particular border for about 2 days, she would spend 2 nights. By the time they stamped her passport to enter into the country, it was already in the evening. So, but she researched this journey. She knew where she would stop and sleep every day. She has researched before she embarked upon the journey, the security situation and all the rest. But she found out that sleeping, because people were very hostile, it's like she fought her way to really get, and she felt that she should not sleep in that place that night. So that's why she drove. So she has not covered more than 1 hour that she ran into a parked truck. So she actually drove after 8 o'clock, which was not a plan, and that happened. So when the accident happened, you can trust Nigeria. They started congratulating us. What parents are they? That's it. When they are playing, is it that so a child said he wanted to drive and they opened their eyes? They started congratulating us. But like we know, like I said, we are a family of faith. We believe in God. We believe in God's protection. We believe that let us go too far. At that point, we look at what is happening around us. People that didn't even travel, that have just simple sickness, they get to the hospital, they die. So I said, look, let everybody just live according to the leading of God. So, but thank you so much for being part of that.
Thank you very much, Prof. A couple of months back, I was at the J. Randu Center for Yoruba Culture and History at Onikon, and I saw the car. Of course, they named the car Lumi the car. I saw it at the J. Randu Center, where it was placed in a glass. Thank you so much, Professor Timothy Nubi, for being a part of the conversation today. Professor Timothy is a professor of housing and urban regeneration from the prestigious University of Lagos. We've looked at some of these issues, especially on the area of affordability, on the area of reintegration. Yes, just like Prof said, no developing city would fold his hands and allow the slums to be the face of the city. Yes, understandably so. But then you would have to find a way to also, bring in the people that occupies those slums into whatever development you are bringing out of those slums. And that's the fact. Yes, the people in the slums may not be able to afford whatever you bring out of those slums in terms of how expensive those houses are. But you've got to find a way to bring them into the system. As you're building your 400 million property on the slums, you should also know that on the side, you can actually make affordable housing, available for the people that are going to be relocated out of those slums. It's a complex situation, but of course, we'll continue to bring in conversations like this to help us, maneuver our ways, whether we like it or not. There is housing crisis in Nigeria as we speak. Millions of people don't have decent housing. Some of them are even living under the bridges. Imagine paying house rents to live under the bridge. It doesn't sound good. But again, we've got to find a way to balance. The market forces are not making things easy. But Prof also talked about the 3 stages of affordability. It talks about income, cost of construction, and repayment plans. Can the government start looking at issues of mortgages so that when government build these houses, it can actually be bought, and then the payment can be spread over a long period of time, like we have it in the US and in the UK and other developed countries. Thank you very much, Professor Timothy Nubi, for joining me on the show today. This is the situation. The program returns tomorrow, same time, 4 p.m., same station, your Super Dial Milan 98.3 FM. Next up is Milan FM Global News at 5:30, and by 6, I would also come back and take you through the world of sport. Chelsea have been fined a whooping £10.3 million and a suspended transfer. You want to find out why? All of that will be all by 6 p.m. on Sport Cruise. And of course, for the very first time since becoming a Ferrari driver, Sir Lewis Hamilton made a podium finish at the Chinese Grand Prix yesterday. All of this will come up by 6. My name is Okoyemi. Have a beautiful evening and bye for now.